Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I just realized I did not turn my headphones off. Okay, so, first time we've done this in a while. What was the last episode we did? It's been a long time. We have, been on a little bit of a break because, I was gonna do... Actually, this episode that I'm doing right now, I was gonna do a few weeks back. I was gonna do it on the 19th, the day of what's it called? The day the movie came out. But there was a bad car accident that I was involved in. I was injured. So here I am. Doing it now. I think the last episode was actually Loose, which I was gonna do a spoiler-filled review on, but I have to refresh myself on the movie before I do that, if I was gonna do it. No, Joker was the last one. Forgot I did Joker. Disappointed in Joker. Well, episode 80, we have Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, speaking of disappointments, it's worth noting that I went into this movie optimistic. I went into it like, despite what I may have said on 30-minute reviews and discussing the movie in the lead up to its release, I was optimistic about about this movie. I wanted to see how they attempt to wrap up the Skywalker saga, because that's how this movie was billed the entire time. It was billed as the summation of the Skywalker saga. Unfortunately, it did not go well, and I think a lot of that has to do with what The Last Jedi was and where The Last Jedi takes place. And this is not me saying The Last Jedi was bad. I did really like The Last Jedi, and I think The Last Jedi would have worked a lot better, exactly the same, just if it wasn't related to the Skywalker saga. If it was an unknown Jedi, an unknown apprentice in the form of Rey, make it about the origins of the rebellion back immediately after Solo, or in that time frame. This movie would be probably the best received Star Wars movie ever made. Even more so than Empire, but a lot of people got their nose bent out of shape about Luke and, all of that. Now, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make about this whole nonsense is that I think that at the end of the day, people had an idea about what should happen and what would make sense to happen. Here's my problem with this movie. A lot of what happens here should have happened before this point. And it's very obvious watching this movie that there was no plan going into this. Because if there's a plan, and I hate saying this, but let's look at Marvel for a second. There was a plan at Marvel. So things that are going to come into play later start getting laid out. Like if you look at specifically the Iron Man trilogy, let's start with that one out of the gate. We know in Iron Man 1 we get the introduction of the 10 rings from Iron Man 1, which then comes into play in Iron Man 3. We get the origins of what Stark Industries is, and that comes into play in Iron Man 2. Everything kind of plays off each other because it's a narrative trajectory across 3 movies. Look at the original trilogy. As we go, everything we need to know is laid out across the thing. When we start out in A New Hope, we don't assume that Darth Vader is the Emperor. We know there's someone above Darth Vader. We know he's the number 2 guy. Through the first 2 movies of this, there's no indication that there's anyone pulling the strings. And even so, in this movie, it doesn't look like Palpatine's pulling the strings as much as he's kind of going with the flow, and he's like, alright, I'm alive. And then, okay, this is happening now. Alright, we're going to switch it this way. We're going to do this now. He has no concrete plan. And it's like we got a fleet of Death Star caliber weapons now, and it makes a lot of other decisions in the extended universe look really stupid. Like, why was Operation Cinder a thing if the Emperor wasn't really dead? Hold on one second. Alright, that's an experiment for another day. Anyway, I got this new headset. I'm using the headphones part I was trying to get the mic to work, but it wasn't. So it's a work in progress. And then I found on my little thingy for the splitter, there's a little microphone on, microphone off button. Figured maybe that's something to do with why the microphone wasn't working, but it was not. Like, for the sake of this, you could have split up a lot of what happens in this movie into multiple movies before this point, because that's what you should be doing when you're doing a trilogy. You shouldn't be laying no narrative groundwork for the finale and then go, okay, we have a lot we have to cover now. So, like, this nonstop action that we get in this movie doesn't feel right, because it feels like we're rushing through the story. Like, 2/3 of the movie shouldn't be a fetch quest in the last movie of a 9-movie series. It comes off like they didn't know what they were doing. And I've said it before. If The Last Jedi was Episode 7 Part 2, a lot of problems would have been alleviated. You would have one more movie now to sum up this entire thing. One more movie to kind of be like, okay, here's what's going on. Rey being a Palpatine, dumb decision. Completely, it means nothing. And you could have gotten that same ending with Rey Skywalker, that whole thing with her picking her last name. That still works if she doesn't have a direct link to Palpatine. Nothing in the movie is predicated on her being related to Palpatine at all. So it makes the reveal just kind of an appeasement to people who were saying, oh, there's no reason for her powers. And meanwhile, if you watch The Mandalorian, people were complaining online about Rey being able to force heal. It's like, oh, we've never seen anyone do that. Meanwhile, The Mandalorian got Baby Yoda doing it. Baby Yoda, no one questioned why Baby Yoda could do it. They questioned why Rey could do it, not why Baby Yoda could do it. And he's not actually Yoda even. So that's what that felt like. It felt like that level of appeasement that didn't need to happen. Then there are other poor narrative decisions that happen too, and I hate saying, well, this is what they should have done, but this whole trilogy feels like a missed opportunity, because you can remake these movies 10, 15 years from now, but you can't really change the story. Star Wars is indelible in that way, where because of what happens with the extended universe, what comes after it, what comes before it, everything kind of links together. The books, the movies, the comics, the video games, all of that stuff kind of links together to tell this one giant narrative story. Like right now I'm reading Alphabet Squadron, and it makes Episode 9 feel really weird because of how much of it's predicated on Operation Cinder, which is from Battlefront 2, the video game, which is where the Emperor said if he ever were to be killed, they're just going to destroy everything out of spite. Like, so, I don't even, like, there were so many things in this movie, and if we're talking about missed opportunities too, it's like, it feels weird, because early on in the movie, Hux, or Richard Grant's character says, what's it called, we need to abduct more children to man all these ships, and then everyone kind of just gleefully goes and destroys the ships, and that just feels very weird to me. And it's like, okay, so we have all these children are indoctrinated on the ship, and we have two characters who are here who are ex-stormtroopers who defected, and they're both. That was a great opportunity for them to lead a revolt on the ships. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, Kylo Ren's lightsaber was always meant to represent his inner turmoil and everything. That's why it was all, like, cobbled together. It's like he wasn't truly committed to the cause, and it's like the blade was unstable because it was kind of, it was meant to represent him. He's unstable. He doesn't know what's going on. So when he he switches over, he should have kept the lightsaber with the crossguard, and the kyber crystal should have been cured or healed, and it should have been blue at that point. Would have been much better. There was what else was there? Oh, two moments at the very end of the movie. I said to my brother as they were happening, because I took him to see the movie. As they were happening, I turned to him and I said, 100% willing to bet every dime I ever make again that those two moments were added in reshoots after May of this year, or 2019. It's 2020 now. One of which was when Lando's in Poe's ear as Poe's, facing down the First Order, and he's like, "I'm sorry, there's too many of them. We're never gonna be able. We don't have anyone." And then you just hear Lando in his ear, and he's like, "Oh no, we have people." And then everyone shows up, and it's like, great. If you look, you can see like, oh, there's the Tantive 4, there's the Ghost, and it's like, all right, cool. And then I was like, that moment doesn't quite have the impact of what it was going for, and we know what it's going for. It's a play on what they did in Endgame when everyone comes out of the portals. It doesn't quite land properly because they didn't build up to this at this point, because it's so confusing what the relationship is between the Resistance and the New Republic, and is the New Republic destroyed now and the First Order is taken over completely? Is the First Order just an insurgent group of Empire loyalists who, none of this makes any sense at all. So now all these people are coming out, and it's like, well, yeah, they should have happened sooner. And then, Rey and Palpatine in the final confrontation, when he's like, I am all of the Sith, and she says, and I am all of the Jedi, 100% that came from the response to Iron Man's snap. 100%. And it didn't work here either. And it's not because, and the thing is, too, it's like, the setup for that scene, and again, JJ does his thing where he remakes the movie, but not really. He kind of remixes it a little bit, and it's like a good amount of the third act of this, where you have the confrontation that's happening with battle in space, battle on the ground. Battle on the ground is confronted with the Emperor. The difference is you don't get the action and the interesting part of it, where what's it called? What was the word I was looking for? There's no lightsaber fight between Luke and Vader here. There's nothing like that. It's just them talking. And it could work, but it's poorly executed. And the same thing with Ben's redemption, where it's like he talks to, I don't know. I feel like Ben's redemption was completely glossed over. They could have done something really interesting with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and have him be the bad guy the entire way through. Up until the kiss at the end with Ben and Rey, I was right about them being kind of an analog to Jason and Janet. They may not be siblings, but they're kind of, it's a similar situation where he turns back to save her life, and that's... there's just so much that just could have been done, and could have been done better. And it just wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. If you haven't seen the Rise of Skywalker yet, at this point you've already subjected yourself to 8 previous Skywalker saga movies, 2 anthology movies, 1 Clone Wars movie, probably the Mandalorian TV show, probably at some point something from the Clone Wars TV show, either by Tarkovsky or by what's his name, or Dave Filoni's, possibly some of Rebels. At this point, if you haven't seen it yet, just rip the Band-Aid off. Get loaded, go with someone. Just rip the Band-Aid off at this point. Come on. It's not great. I mean, there's a few moments in there that are, fun. I know it's not, nothing in the movie contradicts it either. I just want to point that out, too. But nothing in the movie contradicts that Finn and Poe are in a relationship. 100% they are. They have this old married couple vibe to the two of them in their relationship. It's really fun. And I wish they did more with, the bickering sibling vibe that Rey and Poe have. I wish that they had any more than 2 minutes of screen time for Rose. And, maybe, the characters felt more like friends than loose acquaintances. That would be nice, too. One of the most emotional moments in the movie, though, was Chewbacca reacting to Leia's death. I I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities here. This movie could have been so much better than it was, and it just wasn't. So yeah. So I guess we'll wrap up there for today. Well, for right now. Tonight, I was going to go see Knives Out at 3 o'clock, but I got to run an errand at that time, so I will be instead going to see Little Women tonight at 6, so I'll be doing a review of Little Women tonight. And then, I think Sunday's my next one after that. It's Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan and Brie Larson. And I think that counts as... No, that's still a 2019 release. Fuck. I don't think I have any 2019 releases yet. So we'll see what goes on there. Until then, have a great rest of your day, and we'll be back tonight with Little Women. Oh, one other little housekeeping thing. Number one, if you go on our website, we do have a website. I feel the need to plug this every once in a while, we do it. You can go to ecbu.home.blog or myecbu.com. That is my personal blog. I do reviews on there as well. So I did a review of the Rise of Skywalker. I did a top 10 list, which I'm going to be doing a podcast for. Editorial pieces, things like that, all happen on there. If you scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, there is a link to Gamefly. That is an affiliate that we have. Gamefly is one of our affiliates. I'm going to be putting down as well one for Alamo Drafthouse, because they're also an affiliate. And if you use those, if you get the trial for Gamefly, we get paid a little bit. So it's a good way to support the show if you want to do that. If you go down there and if you go down and do that, that's a great way for you to support the show. That way we can ensure that we're continuing to keep the show running, because it does cost money to do that, and they do pay us. If you click that link, we do get paid through CJ affiliate. Commission Junction, it's called. We also going to be doing something. Best Buy is going to be working with us to, if I review a movie and I review it well, going through Best Buy, and anyone buys the DVD or anything through Best Buy, we would get a stipend, 1% back. That is designed to, and the thing is, it's not going to influence the review at all. It's just, regardless of if we like the movie or not, that's going to be at the bottom to buy it through Best Buy if that's what you want to do. It's going to be mostly on new release movies. And there was one other thing we're going to be doing, in an effort to generate income, as usual. I have books that you can buy, most recent being Duet, sequel to Swan Song, and that is available on Amazon. You can check my Twitter account at AdamTaylor792, and you can see more information there. If you watch streaming, I do stream every once in a while on Mixer. So that's neat if you want to check that out. I'm going to be streaming, I'm going to be streaming probably tonight, probably in a little bit, actually. Do a little bit of streaming today, now that I got this headset, if I can get the headset working. Right now I'm just using my Xbox, but in the near future I will be expanding to do older games, mostly older games in reality, like N64, GameCube, things like that, now that I have a capture card. But we'll see. We will see what goes on there. So until then, have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tonight with Little Women.